if you were given 1 out of 1. A lot of students that didn't get 1 out of 1 gave a terrible quantity, didn't describe it, didn't describe whether it was engineering, bolt or whatever. In fact, some didn't even do it. So, you know, it was a judgment call. It was only 1 mark, but yeah. So, the other thing is, if you show a cutaway on the bridge, on plan view, so you've got your decking boards coming along like this. This should be reserved not for this class, this should be reserved for the labs. But half of you take off and don't see these when I'm doing them on the board. If you show a cutaway on the bridge, and then you've got your beams underneath, and your cross members coming this way, if that's the only part you need to detail up with this sort of thing here. All of this along here is the decking boards. And you can use 2 things. One is the word typical or just tip. And you could show, say, 1, 2, 3 crosses, put the dimensions between them, call up the bolts, and put the word typical. And you don't have to draw the whole lot. Okay. You know, I said that in the lab last week. I did say the word.
What about if I did?
Yeah, if you did, well, that's typical of what a student will do.
Is it fine?
Eh?
Is that fine?
I'm not going to mark it wrong, but it's yeah, you could have been doing another assignment instead of doing that. Never mind. Okay. So that's kind of a wee bit of an overview of what I said in the lecture last week. More importantly, we've got a test now coming up next week for 20 marks, and if you can nail that, so to speak, then maybe the assignment isn't quite as important. But for some of you, you're going to be looking for at least a 10 in the assignment, and to get that, you're going to have to do the details, you're going to have to do the 3D. And when the 3D's finished, you can't just stop at the 60% mark, which is the easy bit, because I demonstrated how to do it. I mean, I can't think of too many assignments in all of Unitec where the lecturer actually does it on the overhead projector and then you copy it. Yeah, the last 2 marks you're going to have to work a little bit for. Like someone said, oh, do we have to draw all the bolts? Yes, you have to do all the bolts. Do we have to do all the holes? Yes, if you want the mark for the holes, you have to do all the holes. Do we have to show all the welds? Yes. But in 3D it's just like 2D drawing. Once you've drawn it, you can go copy, 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 copy. And remember, the 3D is diagrammatic. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It's trying to give the client the idea of what it looks like in 3D. Someone said, oh, I'm going to do the water. Is it okay to just do it kind of as a sort of floating cube? One of the degree students has put waves in the water. Am I going to get any extra marks? No. No extra marks for fish either, or anything like that. But when you do your 3D view in the viewport, I don't want to see kind of a hole here in the water and a hole there and a wee piece underneath. So zoom in so I can't tell that how you've done your water. Students have it's a little bit hard to draw here, but they do. Here's the bridge. No, I don't think I'll necessarily be able to do a particularly good shot here. So students don't quite know how to do 3D water, so they kind of just draw a cube over here and another cube over here and another one over here just to represent the water. They do another one here, and then they do their 3D viewport, and you can see a hole or another hole over here where they haven't quite finished it off perfectly. So you can draw your water any way you want to, as long as in the viewport I can't see those holes. Okay? And it's not the universe, it's not the dark hole. So as far as the the 8 marks go for the elevation section and the plan view, I guess the important things there are the reinforcing. Is that there's some marks for the reinforcement. So you think you got away with that last time? Well, you're going to have to do it properly in the elevational view. Now, anything that was pulled up in the plan view with a full call up, only needs to be the bar mark. So 1601 or whatever. Actually, that's not a good example. 1604, that was a full call up. That's just the number. Anything that only had the number in the plan view will need a full call up on the elevation depth. And if I've put 22 bars and you put 24, the time has stopped to argue about it. It is 22, so draw 22 dots. Right? If they fall in between being able to put it somewhere, just move it a little bit and put it beside the other bar. So the reinforcing I do look at, you only have to draw one. Once again, you can use the word typical. But the problem with using typical with the abutment is it's not typical, because if I was to look at my hands, the abutment here isn't copied over to the other side. The abutment is what we call mirrored or handed, and that's where the word handed comes from. Okay, so you will need to put the word handed in there as well. So you can do that in the notes. Or you can do it in an actual note pointing at the abutment. I quite like, you're going to be a little bit pushed for space with notes in assignment 4, so how about using something like Arial narrow so you can get things a little bit more squeezed up. What else? It's interesting that a lot of students don't read some of my comments that I've given to other students, like presented in model space. So a student who may have got, in the first assignment, might have got no CAD penalty at all. They probably think that they're just it. So let's do the second assignment. And they've done everything right, but they've presented in model space, yet at least 12 students were penalised for presenting in model space. So it's really important to, I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but I'm just saying it's really important to read some of the comments on other students, and then you go, oh, didn't know that. I didn't know I'd get penalised for leaving it inside the viewport, or for not putting my viewport layer on a layer called viewport, or all those things. There's enough comments there, there's plenty of them, to realise the things you get penalised for. So have a wee read through them and don't do them. Simple as that. Look, you probably think I'm being extremely harsh. I've had a lot of feedback comments about hard marking, but yeah, unfortunately in the real world, day one after you've watered the boss's pot plants is when you find out exactly what you should be doing, and you don't repeat it. I can tell you that for nothing. In the real world we use XREFs, and XREFs are cross-reference drawings. You have as many as 12 people working on one drawing. So if you're the weak link, it doesn't take too long for them to figure out where it came from, and that weak link ends up being staying back after work for quite some time to finish the weak link and make it right. So yeah, the things you learn from me are things that you have to take forward into your job. And if you think you can avoid doing drawings, it's pretty hard in surveying and engineering to avoid it, but so you do need to keep current with all these skills that I've been teaching you and other lecturers have been teaching you. So today's lecture is all about revision for the test. I was in a lecture in 1982 at Otago Polytechnic, and the lecturer just walked out, and we couldn't believe what the hell was going on. Just walked straight out of the room, said goodbye halfway through the lecture, and he said, the reason is we've got a union meeting, I'm gone, bye. And we have a union meeting at 11:30. And I won't be walking out on you, but I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can, although I'm entitled to. Good old unions.
We're not that bad, are we?
Eh?
We're not that bad, are we?
Well, you're the main reason I'm going to walk out, but never mind.
Salad turkey.
No, he's quite rude, I thought. It was terrible. Halfway through explaining a maths thing.
Is that what happened in the olden days?